All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you here at Rosie's Corner. Make sure you get your curbside takeout. I'm ordering up a chicken parm sub and a meatball bomber, and it's 9 minutes with me here from Rosie's Corner in a very specific set place. Don't worry, they're not doing the dine-in and all the rest. They're doing takeout only. People are separated. You can get the curbside pickup if you don't even want to come in. And, of course, you can get them on Grubhub as well, or they'll deliver right to you. If you're in and around Central New York, make sure you keep doing it, man. Keep supporting local business as best as you can. Money's tight for everybody. But if you can do just a little bit here, a little bit there weekly, it helps everybody, and they'll certainly return the favor to you as time marches on here. We'll get through this together, and local businesses need to get through it as well. So come on down to Rosie's Corner. Meatball bombers, chicken parm. You got the hot and cold subs. You got the stuff in the cooler, which is terrific stuff as well. They've got all of your necessities like eggs and milk and all the rest. Plus, you can order up the pizza wings, and it is Fish Friday, so get that mac and cheese paired with that fish, or your French fries and your coleslaw with that fish as well. Rosie's Corner is a proud sponsor of the ML Sports Platter. We're also supported by the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group and Empower Federal Credit Union. I want to get into a little bit of some of the ideas of Major League Baseball if and when this season comes back. There's a real chance here, folks, that Major League Baseball will not return for 2020. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best with all the sports in 2020. But let's be honest right now, how fast time flies and how long it's going to take for us to get past the peak of this thing in the United States of America. And remember, it's awful in some places and it's great in others, but you don't play sports in just 2 or 3 places. You play sports in the United States of America everywhere. There's cities, there's players, there's management, there's media, there's travel, there's people everywhere. And so we need to curb this thing incredibly and then hopefully go to the point where we know that this thing is pretty much a dead deal because of 1 or 2 cases coming back. We're going to have to pull back all the games, and it's going to be a disaster if that does take place. But let's take a look at some hypotheticals in terms of Major League Baseball, where they may come back and where they could play and how the schedule could play out. First and foremost, I would look at it right now. And again, I don't have any knowledge. Nobody knows out there. Dr. Fauci doesn't know. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, doesn't know. The players don't know. Nobody knows when baseball is coming back. So it's all hypothetical and it's all guesswork. But that doesn't mean that we can't think about things and start to understand what people are trying to plan and all the rest. And that's all I'm trying to do. I think you got to look at the months of April and May as a complete wash. I think there's going to be 0 baseball in those 2 months because in a lot of places, much basically New York City and where the Yankees and the Mets play, that's where we're having the most trouble with this thing right now. But also by the same token, you could also argue that New York, with all the trouble, with all the deaths, with all the testing, with all the contacted cases, we're also testing a lot more than everybody else as well. So New York could be behind in terms of time now, but what we're doing now could create us to be ahead later. If more states maybe follow that protocol, we'll see Georgia, Florida. They obviously came late into the game. Their governors should have shut down the states a long time ago. Florida just did it a couple days ago, and we know that Florida's always a shit show anyways, but you've got the Marlins, you got the Rays there. So those are 2 teams right there in Major League Baseball that are part of this whole kit and caboodle in terms of getting back. But I would for sure wash the months of April and May absolutely in Major League Baseball. I think there's zero chance of getting any baseball in the months of April and May. Now, June, I would also look at as being a dangerous place because you're going to be coming off the peak of it, and at that particular point, I don't think there's going to be any baseball there either. And then you're looking at the All-Star break in mid-July in Los Angeles. Well, that's only 2 weeks of the month, so why even bother with it? So at this particular point, what I'm getting at is I would wash the entire first half of the season. I would think up here mentally, if I'm a baseball fan, I'm not getting anything back until at least post-All-Star break. Now, at that particular point, we're hoping that this thing has completely been flattened or close to being flattened where we can kind of get back to our normal business and all the rest, or the absolute best case scenario is we have a vaccine, right? And we can kind of patrol this thing much like we have the flu. Let's assume that we can get baseball back in August, the first week of baseball, the second week of baseball, or second week of the month. At this particular point, I would then say baseball would probably play. I mean, you pretty much play every single day anyways. You're going to then get about 60 to 70 games in regularly, maybe delay, you could push the season into October a little bit. You delay the postseason by maybe 2 or 3 weeks. You just kind of suck it up and play some November playoff games as well, back end of October games in addition to. And there's been talk amongst players and amongst executives that maybe, just maybe, Major League Baseball would in fact play some doubleheaders in that in that couple week time frame. Maybe the first and back end, last week of August, maybe in September you play 4 or 5 doubleheaders per team. Players have been talking about having 2 doubleheaders per week, and then if you do that, I would maybe mess with playing with those doubleheaders maybe in 7-inning formats. Interestingly enough, I had Tom Murphy on, the catcher of the Seattle Mariners, on my podcast yesterday, and he told me he would not mess with 9 innings at all. He said baseball is a 9-inning game. Don't mess with that. I don't care what's happening in the minor leagues. Interesting, certainly, to look at it that way. I do see it that way because there is a little bit of a modern feel for me as a baseball guy, but also there's that traditional feel as well where, baseball 9 innings, if it's not 9 innings, does it feel like baseball? It'd be like playing, 8-minute quarters in the NBA or in the NFL, playing, 2 20-minute halves or something like that, or college basketball, 2 20-minute halves, taking it down to, 4 10-minute quarters or something to that nature, as far as the men's game is concerned, that is. So I do understand with the tinkering and all the rest, but Major League Baseball might not have a choice if they want to get in those doubleheader games and play a couple of 7-inning doubleheaders, and that, of course, at that moment would give you an opportunity as a baseball fan to get games in. Revenue would then get back into the proper channels for these owners and for these for the front office executives. That could be an idea. And of course, everybody's thinking about abnormal ideas because we're in an abnormal time, right? Well, if that did happen, let's play best case scenario, because I really think best case scenario is baseball in August. I really do. I don't know if sports are coming back the rest of this year, but best case scenario for the MLB season starting in the beginning of August, maybe again that second week, latest third week, if that is the case, and you play a lot of those doubleheaders, you leak into maybe mid-October for regular season, you turn right around and play postseason. If I do my math correctly, you can get 90 to 100 games in at that point. And what's the difference? That's plenty of baseball. A lot of people who hate on baseball for having too long of a season would then jam-pack and watch a lot of the games. There'd be a push to the postseason. You'd be able to still have a regular, standing play and all the rest. You'd have to cut games here and there. Maybe, normally if you're, let's say, in the AL East and you're the Yankees, you play the Red Sox and the Orioles and the Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. Maybe at that point, you instead of playing them 19 times each, you play them 8 times each. Maybe you get rid of some interleague games, whatever. They can figure it out. It's not that hard. This is not, performing shoulder, rotator cuff surgery here. The powers that be can figure it out. But to me, maybe August, September, you have 60 games total just based on solo games, and then you work in those doubleheaders. Again, Tom Murphy also mentioned to me, the Mariners catcher yesterday, that he doesn't want to, do these doubleheaders in order to sacrifice the health of the players, and that was a tremendous point. I'm totally in with Tom on that. We don't want to get players injured by just rolling them out there. He did mention the bullpen game, though, and say, well, then all of a sudden it becomes a bullpen game. Your starting pitcher doesn't go out there that much anyway. Well, isn't that the game now, right? I mean, the game is all about relief pitchers, and at that point, if you can kind of mix and match with the relievers, you have 2 7-inning games, you rest people here, rest people there. There's really no difference in the current game because we're constantly having relievers in as it is. I mean, starting pitchers are going 4 or 5 innings. It's very rare. Not everybody's Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, etc. eating innings. So to me, best case scenario, if you're a baseball fan, target August 1st for the season starting. 9 minutes with me here from Rosie's Corner, YouTube, IGTV, Facebook. Make sure you get on down here. Facebook Live, I will try to do something here in the next coming week. I'll keep posting stuff from Rosie's, keep telling you what they have, their themed food days, Meatloaf Monday, Fish Friday. Get on down here to Rosie's Corner. Awesome stuff. Local businesses, keep supporting them. They'll deliver to you or get it on Grubhub. And today is Fish Friday. And follow Rosie's on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Mike Lindsley.